Hello, nice to see you here again. So today I want to show you how to make this really easy embroidery design. It's got a little gingham background, which is really cute, and it reminds me of like a little picnic. Yeah, let's go stitch this together. Okay, so starting with the supplies list, what you're gonna need. So I've got some gingham fabric right here, a 6-inch embroidery hoop, some scissors. I have my chosen color palette, white, a moss green, which is like a sunset yellow, 2 needles right here, one's for 3 threads and then one's for the full 6 thread. Ribbon here for when I want to hang it, and I've got some fabric scissors just to quickly cut out the fabric. Let's go! Right, so first I'm just measuring out 9 inches square and cutting that out. Okay, now I've got my printed pattern. I'm gonna have this link below as a PDF, but what I'm doing really is just taping one edge of the paper, and so I can use it as a little hinge to then trace off the pattern. Just because it's such a simple line pattern, you can kind of use it as a guide and then just put, you know, your marks on your fabric, and it looks, you know, it looks fine. So I thought this is the easiest way with this pattern. Each set is gonna look different because I'm, you know, doing it like this, but that's fine. And now I'm finished printing the design. So I'm just gonna put my embroidery hoop on, secure it all tight at the top notch. I'm just gonna pull the fabric around the circumference of the embroidery hoop just to make sure that every single little bit is stretched and not warped in any way. It's all nice and flat, and it should sound like a drum when you tap on it. Here I've got some motifs aren't quite fitting in the embroidery hoop, but that's fine. Readjust it slightly when I want to get those units. So I'm starting off with my white floss. I'm using all 6 strands. For all the daisies, we're going to use a lazy daisy stitch. Coming up from the middle and then going down right next to where I came out. Bringing my needle at the end of the line, making sure that my thread is looped around my needle. That should catch the loop. Small, tiny little stitch just outside of that loop we've just made to catch it. So I'm just going to go again, coming up from the middle of the flower and then going right back down next to where I came out, readjusting the loop so it goes in the direction of where I want to go. Coming out at the end of that line, pulling it through and then catching that loop, and then making a small little stitch to secure it in place. But it's very simple and you can do it very, very easily, and a very beginner friendly stitch. I'm just going to snip it off. I'm just going to make a simple knot at the back and cut that off. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all these daisies. There's quite a few, so I'm just gonna give you a time lapse of all these in the making. Okay, so I've stitched all the daisies in place, and I'm leaving those daisies that are just coming off of the frame because we'll just readjust it and then stitch those in place. I'm just going to address the mess that is the back. This is my least favorite part. So now I'm using that green color, all 6 strands. So for the stems, we're going to use an outline stitch, and you want your thread to go away from the curve, so it's not going inside the curve. Going away. Before I finish that stitch, I want to come up in the middle of that stitch, go back down as if I'm making another stitch, coming up where that first stitch ended. So just keep repeating this until the end of the stem. Pass your needle through the fabric at the end of the stem. Do that with all of the stems, making these outline stitches. That's completed. So lastly, we want to introduce a yellow color for the little centers of the daisies, and I'm going to be splitting this into 3 strands, so halving the thread. So I'm going to be using a slightly smaller needle as well. So for the center of the flowers, we're using a French knot, and now I'm passing the needle through the center of one of these daisies and wrapping the thread around the needle 3 times. I want to pass my needle back down, but all the while I want to keep a hold of the thread just to make sure that all these wraps don't get loosened up. We want to keep it as tight as possible. There's your little French knot. So I'm going to be doing this to all of the daisies. I think this really adds something to the design, makes it more detailed and adds that a little bit more color that I think it needed. Okay, so now all of that is stitched up. I want to relocate and move my work so I can reach those units that I couldn't do before. Making sure it's all tight, very important. Okay, and I'm just going to do this really quickly using those same techniques. Outline stitch for the stems. And then I'm making my daisy with my lazy daisy stitch and adding a little center to that one. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. We just want to center up our work, make sure it's where we want it. So I'm snapping that in place, tightening up, and then stretching it out. That's it. That's all it takes to make this really, really cute daisy picnic inspired hoop. I think it looks very nice on a solid color as well as a patterned gingham. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you here again soon.